And welcome to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. That was good timing. They were bumping. The building next to us, they play music sometimes before we come in the air. They were bumping, and then the music just kind of died down as soon as I hit.
Out of respect.
Is that what it was?
For us, they said, Jeff is ready to go. We need to pipe down.
You think we've earned that? We're there. We're to that point now.
We almost won an Emmy.
We are the almost Emmy nominated. I do need to put our little statue back up by the clock somewhere.
Almost Emmy nominated.
I need to work that out somehow. We want to introduce the holiday giveaway we're going to do. We want to go through some of the rules for you, break it down. Mark's got some incidences. What do you want to call them? Coincidence? The Pittsburgh.
Yes. Story. I don't know if it's coincidence or not. We'll have to let it up to the listeners.
As coincidence. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then I have some different news topics. We may do like a PTI style, just like give kind of our 2 cents on some stuff. And then you're going to love this. I thought at the end of the show, we would try this. I'm dropping this on you. I didn't tell you this. I have a random debate topic generator that I found online. So I thought maybe it would be interesting. So for example, I'll click the button here. So the first one, summer is better than winter.
Is there a debate?
A parent shouldn't pierce a baby's ears.
Absolutely not.
See, animals shouldn't be used for medical research.
In a perfect world.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I figured we'd do some of those towards the end today since we're figuring it out. I thought you'd enjoy that little, thinking out loud. That's what we can call it. We can call it thinking out loud.
There we go.
Just drop them on.
Think out loud.
We wanted to first open up. Well, first, let's start with this. How are you feeling today?
Well, I have a good answer for this. Today, I feel better. I got my booster shot on.
That's right.
Saturday.
Yes.
I waited as long as I could till the Oklahoma State game. Then I booked it down to Sam's Club.
Okay.
And I was first one in line. I got there at a lucky time because I asked the pharmacist, because of course I'm asking, like, how many are you guys giving? She said, we're really busy. I don't know why we're not busy right now. You got lucky. So then I got home in time to see Alabama kick the crap out of Georgia, and that kind of threw things on its ear. But so the funny thing is, this is how smart I am. And you know how smart I am because you deal with me every day.
Yeah.
So what are the comments? You got your booster, right? Your booster.
I did. Very, very early. I was shocked. I bet you I was like in the 95 percentile for like getting my booster.
Okay. So what are the basic side effects? And a booster is like a half dose of the vaccine, something like that, I've heard. So what are the basic side effects that we hear from people getting their booster? Maybe like a headache. People that have trouble sleeping, whether they're cold at night, stuff like that.
Sure.
And so these are the typical ones. And so I get my booster Saturday, feel fine, watch football, who was the night game? Michigan, watch that, whatever. And I probably watched it a little bit, but kind of took it easy, hung out at home. And then middle of the night, I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm freezing. And it's one of those, did someone turn the heat off? Did I? And it's one, when you're cold and you want to get up and get more clothes, you want to get up and get another blanket, but you're cold right now. Sure. It's only going to get worse when I get up. So so I try to fight it. It's a good hour. And I have gotten up and put more clothes on. I did not scramble to find a blanket. I just scrambled, put clothing, and went back in bed. And an hour later, I roll over. And I kind of feel something and hear something. I was like, what was that? I was like, oh, it's my Band-Aid. Oh my God, I got my booster shot. It was an hour before I put 2 and 2 together and thought, oh, that's why I'm cold. It's not because of the heat. It's not because of what I'm wearing. It's because I got my booster shot.
So you just didn't even realize you were sick.
Never even put it together. So then I kind of felt, yesterday I had a headache, felt a little lethargic. And I don't know if that's because I didn't sleep well the night before, whatever.
Yeah.
Last night, I felt fine, except I was a sweaty mess.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't quite like I jumped in a pool, but it's like someone went by me with a spray bottle multiple times. And which was also weird because I felt fine. I didn't have a headache. I didn't have a fever. I didn't have anything. And now I feel good. So as people tell you, like the booze, it messes with you for like a day, and I fall right into that day category.
Nice.
And I also got the Moderna. They suggested, at least at Sam's Club, and I'm not here to plug Sam's Club, but I am. They had all 3 of the vaccines.
Okay.
I told the lady I had Johnson & Johnson the first time, and as you remember, I got itchy, hivey rash like 5 days later.
Mhm.
So I said, and she said, well, you probably shouldn't do that. I said, what do you recommend? And she said that they had a lot of positive response if you went Johnson & Johnson to go Moderna. So that's what I did. I'm a mixed breed now.
Okay.
I'm part Johnson & Johnson, part Moderna, and I feel good now. Not even 48 hours later.
Is your arm still sore?
Not really.
Okay.
Not even to touch.
No,
I mean, I can tell because right there is where it is slightly.
Sure.
But I have to press on.
So the first two knocked me on my butt. Like
because you're a big baby.
Yes, I was really, really hurting. This time was not sick at all. However, my arm was sore the entire week. Like 7
Really?
days 7 days after, my arm was still like I could still feel like the soreness and like kind of hurt to like lay on it. Like it was, but I didn't get sick at all with the booster.
Now I know everyone reacts differently, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I wonder, in looking back, if you actually had COVID when you got your first shot, because those people it reacts badly to. And because you were for a guy your age and in good general health, and I know you have Lyme's, so that kind of throws a wild card into it.
Sure.
But I think you reacted harder than you should have. So I wonder, even if you had it then or you were asymptomatic at some point and you had the antibodies in you and just didn't know it.
It's very, very, very possible. So we'll see.
Because it's funny now when you talk to people and you're like, did you ever have it? And when they think back, they're like, yeah, I think I might have had it last, but I never got tested, but I had this. And I think if you had symptoms, but you still had taste and smell, those people are the wishy-washy ones. The people, if you lost your taste and smell, you have it. Like when I got COVID, I never lost taste and smell. So in a different world, I would have just thought I had a cold because those were my only symptoms. And there are a lot of people like that you ask them and they think they might have had it and they can tell you the month or they can tell you. So anyway.
Well, it's all possible. So today we wanted to introduce our 12 days of giveaways starting Thursday, December 9th at noon. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to do 12 days. We're going to do Thursday and Friday of this week. And then there's 2 weeks following, and we will end on Christmas Eve, December 24th at noon as well, which is a Friday. So 12 days of giveaways. Years past, we did different ways of deciding who the winners would be. The game plan for this year is it's all going to be based on the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to have one winner who liked the video. We're going to have one winner who commented on the video. And we're going to have one winner out of everybody who shared the video. So you can 3 different ways to qualify, 3 different ways to win that day, simply by liking, commenting, or sharing the video.
And it will be the day before's video.
We think so, yes.
Yeah.
We think
so. Like when we do a show on Wednesday, if you like, comment, or share, or any of the combinations thereof, then you'll be eligible to win on Thursday. So that's the goal with it. I think what's going to end up happening, because you and I, we sort of discussed strategy for a little bit. I think liking is going to be the most filled, obviously, because it's easy. Click. Commenting, I think, will be your second best way to win. But I think it's sharing the video, I think, is going to be your lightest, least resistance way to getting one of these gift cards on the wheel. That's my guess is what's going to happen. So the people who share the video are the one if we do share though, the people who share it every day, are their friends going to then snooze them because they're like, I'm sick of seeing these people? Because I don't post every day. I post once a week.
Yeah, but when you post, you make up for it. Your posts take up. I mean,
I plan them out. They're like,
oh my gosh, they're novels.
There are times that it's like days in preparation of my post.
No, I'm not saying they're not good, but they are thought out and they are longer than the typical post. So that's the game plan with that. We have some of our sponsors back from last year, mostly gift cards. You and I have talked before. I still think we should go out and put we should go get the DVDs of our favorite Christmas movie and put them on the wheel. We should go get some Mark favorites.
Give me that. Let's do that. What is your favorite Christmas movie? We should get some Mark
favorites and some Jeff favorites and put them onto the wheel.
And Mark's favorites will be better. Give me your favorite Christmas movie.
I don't know if I have a favorite. I've told you before, I am partial to the old school claymation. I love Heat Miser. Like I really, those just kind of hit home. My all-time, like if you said to me right now, what is the one that I make sure I watch every year? It is A Muppets Christmas Carol.
You've said that.
Yes.
Now, you know what's funny? As I call you hypocritical right now, you said we should go out and get the DVDs.
Yes.
If you want a DVD, how would you play it?
Well, listen, I'm not winning, which is why I said we should go get the DVDs and hand them out.
Because you can't play. Oh, by the way, I need my DVDs.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with that.
Because Jeff can't you play it out of your laptop and hook it into something?
I can 100% play it on.
You can also go to like Walmart and buy a $30 DVD player.
I'm good.
It's not that hard.
I would use that DVD player twice all year. It just wouldn't. I wouldn't use it. I would never use it.
So how do you watch the Muppets Christmas every year?
Oh, stream. It's on Disney Plus now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
No, it's easy when you have a DVD player.
So no, it's
and
not.
You have a DVD of it.
So again, just a reminder: 3 ways to win. We're gonna like on the video. We're gonna comment on the video. We're gonna share on the video. You don't have to do all 3. You can just pick the one you want. But while you're here, your best odds to win are to do all 3. That gives you your best chance.
Die Hard. You watching that again this year?
Yeah. You know what? I don't think I watched it last year. I don't think I did. I did turn on the TV the other day, and I was at my girlfriend's parents' house. And somebody on cable was already playing It's a Wonderful Life.
What?
Yes. It was already on. I mean, what was Saturday? December 4th? December 4th, cable was playing It's a Wonderful Life.
Are your girlfriend's parents sick of you yet?
Of me?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're sick of aspects of me. This is what I'll say this, because if they're watching, they'll get a kick out of this. They had 3 daughters. And they're all pretty spread out. Like there's a 4 to 6 year gap between all of them. And I think I bring a level of
sensibility.
No.
Calm.
Now you are going to get
rationality.
No, stop. You're really trying to get me in trouble. What? I just think I think it maybe just helps ease the tension sometimes to have like a random person to just kind of like throw in the zinger or just kind of like de-escalate the situation sometimes. I'm guessing.
Did you ever see, what was the movie? What was the Jack Nicholson movie with Helen Hunt where he was a writer and he said, the one lady stopped him and said, "How do you write women so well?" And he said, "I think of a man and then I take away reason and accountability."
Awful. That's not what women want, is it?
No, it wasn't what women. It's the other one. It's the one they won awards for it.
It might be.
He was the guy with the issues, and she was the waitress, and he could only sit at her table, and he could only handle it the same way. Someone please tell me what the name of that movie. But that was the best line in the movie.
So first
Greg
of all,
Kinnear was the neighbor, and then he ended up taking care of Greg Kinnear's dog because Kinnear got robbed and beat up. And he couldn't handle the dog. And
you are very invested in this.
Oh, good movie.
Yeah, it sounds so good you couldn't remember.
I can't remember the title. It's someone's gonna say it, and then I'm gonna be like,
no. So shout out to my girlfriend's parents. They've been awesome. Somehow they've put up with me and dealt with me. But I do think I bring some positives to the situation.
Well, I can only imagine her dad after having 3 girls to be like, thank God.
Oh, especially
thank God there's a dude here for me to talk to.
And a manly man like me.
You are kind of a manly man.
To really help
you guys out in the garage, turning wrenches and stuff. That's you.
And stuff. That was the right way to put that.
At least though, see, this is the beauty of it. And we are very similar in this. Like he could ask you something, you're like, hold on, let me call my dad. He knows how to fix it. Because that's what I do.
Well, I've told you before, I have a great appreciation for my dad. I also have always felt bad for him because he very much had to come over to my side of things I liked to try to relate and to try to have a relationship with me. Because when you're the father, the son just sometimes isn't gonna have the wherewithal to come over to your side. Does that make sense?
No, I get it.
So I give him credit because the things that I enjoy, I think he's found a way to enjoy them, but they were not his loves or his passions.
Well, when it's your kid, you kind of that happens. But my dad's an attorney, but he's the most mechanically inclined carpentry craftsman attorney you've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always joked he didn't teach my brother and I anything.
Yeah.
Because this was his way of always making sure he had value.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, if you know how to fix it, then why would anyone need me around? So this way we have to keep calling them. And
it's kind of like how I never learned how to cook. That might have been my mom's plan the whole time. I know she's listening. I know she's listening right now. That might have been her whole ploy, is if I don't learn how to cook, then she'll always need me to cook.
And I do understand now that I'm a parent, there's times you just kind of got to let the kid go. Mm. But if the kid doesn't really know what they're doing and you do know what you're doing, and it's a job that, like, you know, they don't like and you don't really mind it.
Yeah.
Then there's this element of like, well, I just do it myself.
Well, you know what's always, and maybe sorry to cut you off, because maybe with moms and daughters, it's a little different. But the father-son lawnmower dynamic has always fascinated me, because for some, that is their lawn, and it is like, and the other, like, it is their. There's almost a tranquility to sitting on the mower.
Oh, there's a lot of tranquility.
Yes, and so I'm always the dynamic, because there are some fathers where, like, that is the son's job, and like that's their, you know, they're helping out and that's their chore, and then there are other fathers who are like, they would not let their son touch their lawn if they try.
No, I'm with you.
So that whole dynamic, I don't know what would be maybe cooking would be the mother-daughter. I don't know. I don't know if there's a similar dynamic or not. Now, obviously, all of that stuff is shifting and changing as as society moves on. But
it's fascinating as a parent. I have teenagers and, well, a 20-year-old and 2 teenagers. Is how often, whether it's out of kindness or whatever, you're just like, I'll just do it. You go ahead. You go. I got it.
Yeah.
But when I got it all the time, and you're not trying to spoil the kid. You're just in that moment. They don't really need to do it. I'll go pick it up. I can do this. I can.
Well, sometimes it's simpler.
Sometimes it's way simpler.
Sometimes it's just easier.
It is way simpler. You're going to be done quicker. You're going to have it done your way.
Yeah.
And again, as an adult, there's a lot of where there's a peacefulness to it, that whether, mowing the grass or something that's mindless and simple.
There's also something too, like being good at it. Like there's a satisfaction in knowing, like, you're good at this thing and I'm able to do that for myself and for others. So I don't know. There's a lot of dynamics that go into it, but that one has always
the lawn. You're right. The lawn is one that's
that one's really interesting.
There's a lot of people who take way more pride in their grass than they should. Like
it's
grass.
I think it's important. I think it's important to have you want a good showing, right? Like, you want people to know that, like, you give a crap, but the lengths that some people go to, I'm blown away at, like, how important the lawn is to some.
You show me the backyard that has 4 dirt patches for bases and 1 for pitcher's mound, and that's a good household.
Heather says it's called As Good As It Gets.
That's it.
There you go. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate it.
Have you never seen As Good As It Gets?
A long time ago.
You should watch it again.
A long time ago.
It's pretty good. It's wordy. They needed an editor. People don't talk that way. It is wordy. There are lots of soliloquy answers.
Okay.
But it's good.
Yeah. That's all right. So again, one last time, 12 days of giveaways. We're going to start Thursday, December 9th at noon. Weiss Markets is back in. I know I saw one for Rainbow Carpet's going to do something with us.
Oh, we have a whole bunch.
Is there any off the top of your head? You don't have to. We're just kind of giving people a sneak peek here.
Who did Bobby? We got a lot of the people that were here last year.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't have them.
Yeah, we don't. The CBD store is here.
Okay.
Who's this one? Because this one's stuck. We got a lot of them.
Yes.
Way to catch me off guard.
Not trying to. You
did.
On it.
You did well.
So 12 days, 3 winners each day. So we're hoping to have 36 giveaways. Again, in order to be a part of that, all you have to do is come to the video.
Willard's is back. When they come into me, I got to spit them out.
It's funny. I never think, like, when I'm shopping or gifts or stuff like that, I never think of Willard's, but my girlfriend brings it up all the time. She's always like, see what Willard's has.
Somebody was looking, and this was in my kitchen, and it was, I think my mom was there. I think my sister-in-law was there. People were talking about something of, like, they wanted to get a leather bag or something like that.
Okay.
And I said, well, where else would you go besides Willard's?
Okay.
Was my question, because it's a neat place.
Oh yeah, it's really neat. So again, you can like the video, you can comment the video, and you can share the video. You can do one, you can do all three. But we're going to pick one person who liked the video to spin the wheel. We're going to pick one person who commented on to spin the wheel for it. And we're going to pick one person who shared the video.
I think we're going to end up scrapping the share idea.
You think
I think
so?
we're going to piss people off.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Here's the other part you have to remember too. If you have a group of friends on Facebook and they all share the same video, it only comes up on your feed once. Like it's not like a repetitive share.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So like if you and I shared the same video and let's say Jimmy was our Facebook friend, it would only come up as one video. Now underneath it, it would say like shared by Mark, shared by Jeff. But it only, so I don't think it's going to be as
maybe,
like,
okay, not as bad as I thought.
You're envisioning like some people's feeds
people are
just
like,
being, no, it'll still come up as just one.
Although I'm always shocked by this. If you ever like scroll through and you're like, I know someone posted that and you want to go find it.
Yeah.
And you start going down, how many people post multiple times a day? When I tell you I post once a week, maybe.
Yeah.
There are people who post 6 times a day.
Yeah, I think it just all depends on the person, the personality, what they're doing, where they are. I have some friends, like, they won't post for 4 months, and then they'll go on vacation, and all of a sudden, like, you're seeing stuff from them. So it just all, I think it varies. I think it all depends.
How about the line in Red Notice? She says, I'm taking you to the worst place on earth. He says, your Instagram account?
It's pretty great. I'm glad you finally got
Red Notice is funny. It's the Netflix movie that Jeff had talked about before with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot. And is there somebody else in it?
Off the top of my head,
I think those are the famous ones.
Those are the ones that are the most important.
It's just what you'd expect from Ryan Reynolds. I think The Rock's comic delivery is so underrated. Those two together, the timing of it, it's just so at ease. Yeah. It's not the greatest movie you've ever seen. It's a lot of fun. And you'll laugh over and over.
Yes. And I've said we didn't really get in a debate afterwards, but I said like the timing and the delivery of Ryan Reynolds is just you could give him the worst lines in the world, and I still think he would figure out how to deliver.
See, I think this is the discussion we had earlier. And for those of you joining in for the first time, Jeff is the biggest Ryan Reynolds fan. Jeff loves Ryan Reynolds more than Ryan's parents love him. I think he gets scripts and just takes the Sharpie to it. And like, this is what I'm going to say. That's okay, but I'll say this. And I'll bet he films stuff and they're just like, oh, that wasn't the line, but that's better. I think it happens with him all the time. He can't consistently get that kind of material. I think he fixes a lot of it.
Okay, that's fair. This is an example of what I'm talking about. Is I told you to go see Nice Guy, and I don't think you saw it. Remember Nice Guy? It's kind of like he's in a video game world, but he doesn't know he's in a video game world.
Did this just come out this summer?
Sorry, Free Guy. I kept saying Nice Guy. Free Guy.
It came out this summer. No, I have not.
My girlfriend and I really enjoyed it. However, in that movie, not giving anything away, there's a part of it, he has a pet goldfish. And every morning, the first thing he does is he says hello to his pet goldfish.
Okay.
It's the same line over and over and over again. It's not the line. It's how Ryan Reynolds delivers it.
Oh, I agree with that.
Every time he goes back to the goldfish, it gets more funny. He delivers it, and some of it is the same, but there's a difference, and you can tell his mood and how the movie is progressing and where the day is heading just by the way he delivers.
No, I don't disagree with that. He is incredibly talented.
Yes.
But I think he's in talent. I bet he writes too. I bet he fixes scripts because when I watch this, I'm like, that's him. That's Deadpool. That is what he is in Hitman's Bodyguard. There's a consistent comedic element to all of them. Yeah. And the consistent thing about him is him.
Are you watching anything? We are watching, I'm about halfway through a show on Showtime called Your Honor with Bryan Cranston. Really, really good so far. It's an infuriating show because it's people making bad choices. So you're just kind of
so it's there. Like life.
So you're just kind of sitting there like, why are you doing it right? But you kind of get glued to it and you're stuck to it. Cranston's amazing in it. So we've been watching that. I finished Invasion on Apple TV. I enjoyed that as it went on, but it took a while to kind of get going. I'm trying to think of what else.
You know what I watch this time of year? Football.
That's it. You just go straight football. You're out on the narrative arc of drama.
I really stopped watching episodic television because it was too much of a time suck.
You told me about this. You feel like it's too much of a time commitment to your life.
Yeah, just for what you get out of it, I would rather be able to kind of pick and choose. And if I want to watch a movie, I do. If I want to watch football all day, I do. And
sure. See, what's funny about that is I think there's some people who would feel the same way about watching all that football. So for example, a lot of times during the season, now that we're coaching, I watch almost no college basketball. Like very rarely do I get to watch
because you get your fill.
And like, to be honest, like I don't get to watch a lot of the pro stuff either. Like now once the season's over, I like dive back into it and I'm a junkie. But I guess the point I'm making, there's this idea of, I feel the same way you do, but it's more about the old school procedural drama. Like I can't do like the 911s and like the cops and like the CSIs and the Law and Orders, because I'm just like, I feel like I'm just watching the same thing over. Like this is a waste of my time watching the same thing over and over again. Not to knock anybody who likes that. But what I haven't gotten out of is those like high dramatic story arc dramas that are like 10 episodes long. I prefer those to even like movies.
And I watched the Queens Gambit, which I liked. I've seen all the Stranger Things seasons.
Yeah.
I think there's been 3 so far.
I
watched we watched those with our kids. And then the Queen's Gambit I watched by myself. But like you said, I think there were 6 episodes of the Queen's Gambit, 8 episodes, something like that. So yeah, I can do that. That's
those.
And I will say this too. Yesterday, I missed. We had basketball, so I missed the first half of the first games, which of course we had Eagles Jets on one channel and Giants on the other. So I came home at some point. I fell asleep. I woke up halfway through the Steelers-Ravens game and watched the end of that. And then at 8:00, I watched Red Notice until I saw the second half of the Chiefs game. And because I thought the Chiefs were going to kill them when I was like, oh, they only have 7. Then I watched a while. So, I get. But like Saturday on championship day, and it's run its course now. College football is essentially done. The Army-Navy game's coming. But college football's done. The NFL just kind of, they're playing out the regular season. So December, the football rush is over until January.
I don't want to talk about football, but I do want to say one thing. Have you looked at the AFC standings?
Oh, yeah.
There are 12 teams 500 or above out of 16. Think about that for a second.
Okay.
12 out of 16 teams in the AFC are 500 or above.
You know how you don't like stupid stats because you think they're too picky, but I'm going to bring 2 out now.
Go ahead.
For the first time since 1968, so that's over 50 years. So anything that happened for the first time in over 50 years is significant.
Sure, depending on what you're about to tell me.
The Arizona Cardinals have won their first 7 road games of the year by 10 points or more.
Okay.
So not only are they 7-0 on the road, which never happens in the NFL.
Sure.
They have won each of the 7 games by double digits.
Okay.
The only other time that happened was in 1968 by the Dallas Cowboys.
Do you think it's because they're in the NFC?
I think it's because they're really good. Well, the NFC doesn't suck.
The NFC is not.
The NFC is better than the AFC. They're in the Rams division.
The upper, like the top tier in the NFC is better than the AFC.
Okay.
So like your 4 or 5 are better than the 4 or 5 in the AFC. The depth though is not. It's not.
Well, there's a lot of B pluses in the who's the best team in the AFC? New England.
But that is the point I'm making to you.
There's a lot of parity. There's not a lot of great.
If you're 500 in the AFC right now, you could be in 12th place.
No, I get that.
That's absurd.
But if you were picking a Super Bowl champion, you would pick like 3 teams from the NFC before you pick any from the AFC.
That's fine. But what I'm saying to you is your stat, 7-0 on the road, and I'm saying
it's the first time it's happened in 53 years.
Correct. And maybe being in the NFC this year has helped slightly.
Disagree. All right. Next. Andy Reid's been in Kansas City. I just looked this up since 2012, 2013, 2014, whatever.
Okay.
He's been the coach of Kansas City for a while.
Okay.
Every year, he has been the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. at some point they've had a 5-game winning streak.
And that's the first time.
It's absurd.
Oh,
Like
okay.
a 5-game win. I mean, how many teams in the NFL go 8-8? Or they can't go 8-8 anymore because there's 17 games.
Not as many in the NFC as the AFC.
To have a 5-game win streak every year.
Yeah. Yeah. How many years has he been there now? 3? 4?
No. 7 or 8 or 9.
No, he's been there that long already.
Oh yeah.
Huh. Okay. And they have had a 5-game winning streak at some point or the other.
I mean, you think somewhere in there you throw in a 9-7, which he did. He had 9-7.
Here's the funny part: if Andy Reid looked like John Gruden, how much better rated would he be?
Oh, and had the charisma and all that stuff. Absolutely.
Because he is vastly underrated. Even before you told me that statistic, I would have said to you, like, Andy Reid is unbelievably underrated.
Uh-huh.
It's insane.
But he's only made 3 Super Bowls in his whole life, and 2 of them were in the last 2 years.
2 teams make it every year. It's
hard.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's not easy.
I know. Belichick makes it look easier, but I get it.
And it's really not easy when one team has Belichick and Tom Brady for
ever
18, 19 years. Then it becomes because then really one team's getting to the Super Bowl every year.
Huge win for the Steelers yesterday.
It was all right.
Oh my gosh, it was fun. And Ben essentially has announced his retirement.
Okay.
I guess it was unofficial, official, whatever, but this is going to be the end of the line. And they rallied, and it kept lots of Steeler fans from jumping off all the bridges. And, there's more bridges in the city of Pittsburgh than any other city in the U.S.
You told me that.
Yep. And there would have been lots of jump because they would have been 5, 6, and 1, and it would have
gotten ugly.
Yes.
You want to? I mean, we can bounce around the news here. I did say to you, New York City expands vaccine mandate to whole private sector.
I don't know how they can do that.
I know that's going to be interesting. It's Mayor de Blasio is the one who is announcing it, and I don't want to say like he's the one putting it in, but I would imagine the mayor would be the one to get the ball.
And don't get me wrong, I can understand. There's so many people on top of each other in New York City that the spread would be more rampant. I can understand the medical belief for it. I just don't understand how you can mandate it when it's a health. I mean, it's not like telling someone, it's bright out, you have to wear sunglasses while you drive. Like, that doesn't really, like, this is an injection that goes in your body that's reaction. I don't, and again, I just got boosted yesterday. I'm vaccinated, I'm boosted. Right. I believe it. I just don't know how you can mandate it.
No. The private sector side of it makes it interesting. And as you and I have said several times before, getting vaccinated versus talking about mandates can be 2 completely different conversations. So that one's interesting as well. They're now saying the Omicron, and it depends who you read about this, but the newest variant, they're saying that the South Africa data is encouraging now because they're coming out on the end of the first. So the people in South Africa who were infected with Omicron first are now coming out on the back end of it. So they're seeing the numbers of people coming out of the hospital, people who survived, people who don't have long symptoms. So they're starting to get those numbers, and the numbers are very encouraging according to the World Health Organization.
So they're not just taking them out back and shooting them.
According to the World Health Organization, they're not doing that.
Okay, good.
So that one's good as well. Outside of that, though,
all right, I'm ready. Let's do the debate.
You want to do the debate one?
Yes, I'm ready.
We can do that
because are we starting with should you pierce your baby's
ears?
No.
We'll click the button.
No, you should not.
We'll click the button and we'll let it roll. This one, I don't know if we should do that one. Okay.
Are you protecting me from myself?
Which was more difficult to read? Was it more difficult to read English, or is it more difficult to write English? So when you were in school growing up, was it easier to read or was it easier to write?
I think it's easier to read.
I think it's easier to read, but don't you read more than you write? Okay. So doesn't that naturally just come to you then?
I would think that's a pretty obvious question because when you read something, it's easy. How often do you and I look across the room and say, how do you spell that?
Yeah.
And when you see it, obviously you know what it is, but when you have to write it and you have to create it. So
have you seen the studies about reading about how your brain fills the gaps? Have you ever seen that
No,
before?
But I've gotten those cards that are like, it's all jumbled, but you can still read it.
Okay, yes. So they have done whole sheets where essentially like they take out like 40% of the letters
And you can still read
and
it.
you can read the whole thing.
It's crazy.
It doesn't even, so I mean, even doesn't that even kind of show that reading would be easier to
Probably.
to adjust to or to figure out?
Yeah, probably.
I think writing's really difficult.
It's more difficult than people think.
I very much sympathize with people who struggle to write because I don't think it's easy.
All right, next up.
Okay.
Should you pierce your child's ears? No.
Okay, high school students wearing uniforms. In or out?
I am way more in on it than you would think.
Really?
Yes.
That shocks me. Why?
Because
And you think you're rock and roll. Get out of here. Unbelievable.
I am.
High school students
you're a little
wearing
bit country
uniforms.
and a little bit rock and roll. Because it eliminates it takes socioeconomic pressure off the kids who can't afford the cool stuff.
Okay. The key word that you said there was economic, because I think any of the other social pressures are societal norms that you're going to have to learn how to cope with as you go through your teens and into the real world. The only one is that they have very little control over the socioeconomic impact of what they're wearing. That's the argument. The point I'm making to you is the argument you made is the only one that I would not shoot down.
Well, and that's the only argument I have for it.
Yeah, every other aspect of it,
when the
disagree.
kids have to wear this and they have to wear that and they don't have a choice, it just makes it simpler for the poorer kids because then they don't. Yeah, that would be it. Socioeconomic.
Okay, I can live with that. I can live with that answer.
Good.
Do too many people attend college in our country?
I mean, yes, but it's changing even as our population's going up, college enrollment's going down, and
I think they watered themselves down. I think it's to the point where there's no way your degree can maintain its value.
I think a lot of it is kids don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
They they're too young at 18, 19 to get a real job and be taken seriously in a lot of fields.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are some kids, like there's a contract. I have a kid who I used to coach in basketball who I've had him do contracting work for me for, real estate jobs and stuff like that. And he's probably 20, 21 when he was doing it, but he's good. Mm-hmm. So there are some places, but there's lots of places that you can't walk in and as a 19, 20-year-old, anyone will take you seriously. So I don't want to say it's almost like a rite of passage in a lot of aspects. But yeah, we're getting more and more to the world of like, what do you know? What can you do? What are you good at? And because of social media, people get to kind of display what they're good at.
Sure.
All the time. So you're almost, and not in a way putting out your resume.
Mm-hmm.
And like we would hire someone here that doesn't have a college degree if they're good. Sure. We don't care. Yeah. So, are you good with technology? Can you write? Can you edit? Right. Is there a natural curiosity? So, I think, but I don't think I wonder how many kids are going to college that really don't want to go and are just going because their parents are there, or a lot of them just don't really know what they want to do next.
Right.
And there just aren't a whole lot of good options. I mean, at 18, military college. There's not a whole lot in the real world that they're like, that a 50-year-old will treat an 18-year-old as an equal and as a peer.
That's changing quickly. Like to your point,
yes.
You kind of hit it at. You brought up like the societal aspect of it. From an economic side, like I said, there's just they just failed to maintain the value of your degree. There's no way somebody who graduated 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that your degree, and listen, I'm not saying it's like worth nothing, but there's no way that the value of that degree has maintained or upheld. It can't be. because the numbers went up, more people graduated with the degree, they changed the degree, they added different standards, they added more credits, they did so many things that there's just no way that the degree equals it. If it did, you wouldn't have to go back. If your degree maintained its value, you wouldn't need to go to grad school. You wouldn't need to, you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they've created this system where there's just no way these things actually maintain their value. Now, once you get the job you want or what you're looking for, if you can make it work for yourself. But if you just rely on the degree to like help you, it's not, you're going to have to get another degree, or you're going to have to show within your work that you've earned it. So I don't know. That one's interesting. I think too many people do.
Oh, yeah. I think there's lots
so
of people who don't need it.
Okay.
Yes.
Should children have the right to vote? And if yes, what age?
Now, before I answer that, I'm going to say I just had this argument with my dad recently, and he got mad at me because I think I don't think a 90-year-old's vote should be the same as my vote. Because a 90-year-old's vote, because they're not going to be alive long enough to see the implications. I think there should be a ratio, and like once you're 70 and older, now your vote counts as 2/3, and once you're 80 and older, your vote counts as 1/3, and when you're 18 to 25, your vote doesn't count. I think you need to be old enough to have a clue, but you need to be young enough that you're going to deal with the ramifications of your vote. And I'll give it the first time I thought of this is when they were fighting about the school at Montoursville, whether they should build a new school or not. And there was a lady, God bless her, who was 92 years old, I think she told me. 92 years old. She was complaining about school. She's complaining about Williamsport High School. They have all these problems at Williamsport High School. I said, they do? I don't know there's problems at Williamsport. But she was complaining about her tax dollars and what was going to go up for the school. And I'm like, if they build this new school, it's going to be around for 50 years. You might not be around for 50 more days. You shouldn't be able to poo-poo this school based on your finances because you're not going to be here that long. And the theory way back in the day was that the older people were wiser and they would know what's best for the younger people because they've just lived longer and seen more, which is good if that's what they carry out. But when the 90-year-old isn't voting what's best for the community, they're voting what's best for their pocketbook, which is limited. And I understand that older people on fixed income, I understand the delicacy of it. But when you're talking about something in a community that's going to be around 50 years and you're 92 years old, your vote shouldn't count the same as a 30-year-old.
So the weighted vote aspect is very, very intriguing. Devil's advocate, I would ask you this question. I'm 92. I had a couple of kids, and my kids had a couple of kids, and some of them still live within the school district. And so what do you say to the person that says, I do have a vested interest 50 years from now? If I'm 92 and I have some kids and I have some grandkids and they still live in the area, I'm very vested in what happens 50 years from now. Maybe. If
you have grandkids in elementary school, then you're vested for 10 years. Mm-hmm. You're not vested for beyond that, depending on where they end up.
Okay.
But
your argument is the weighted vote is very, very interesting.
Now, the fascinating part is our president would not have got a full vote.
Oh, no, he wouldn't have. It's an interesting concept. I've never really thought about it, so I wish I had more to say, but I don't. The only thing that I would say is I think the part that gets lost on older people, where I really sympathize with older people on two things significantly more than other things. One, I sympathize with them with technology because they never agreed to live in this world. This was never the world they were told they were going to live in, and this was never they didn't get to say okay, I'm okay with that.
It fell in their lap, and they are struggling.
Yes, and so that is one I've always said. But the other aspect that I've always sympathized is there's this idea of that because they're going to be gone sooner rather than later, that their individual aspect isn't as valuable. But I think it depends on the community and the person, because I've noticed there are older people in society that the only thing they care about is what's going to happen next, because they know they're not going to be here. So they're trying to make sure that everything's okay before they're gone, because they have kids and because they have grandkids and so in a weird way, their vote almost carries a weight that doesn't for the rest of us, because they really know like this could be it. Those are the two things that I've always sympathized with. When I vote on something, very rarely am I, like, I'm almost 35 now. Very rarely do I vote with a sense of others. I usually vote with the sense of myself.
Because you're a selfish.
Because I'm a selfish 35-year-old, right? But again, like, I don't have kids. I don't have grandkids. Like, I finally have nieces, and it's the first time in my life where I'm kind of like, oh yeah, like they're
compassionate.
Like they might actually be around. I love you're calling me out, and you don't want 70-year-olds to have a full vote.
No, and as I said, my dad was very upset with my announcement.
With your but you understand. So it's funny. On one perspective, you are correct. Like, you're voting on something you're not going to be here for. But in a weird way, it does add a weight to them, because it's like, yeah, that's why I want to make sure everything's okay, because there's things and people I care about that I'm not going to be able to look out for when I'm gone. So in a weird way,
if they do,
yes.
So it's just like, say there's two people that won, that you won $1 million in the lottery, and one of them is me, who has kids in the school district, and I'm not blowing the money because I want to make sure I got what I got. I want my kids to be okay. I got it. So I win $1 million lottery. I'm not blowing it. But if a 92-year-old wins the $1 million lottery, well, what are they going to do with it? Are they going to pass it down to their kids? And if they do, great. Or are they just going to be like, what do I care? I'm going to spend it all. And that's the aspect of it is, are they looking at the future, or are they looking at getting the most out of the end of their days? That's not societally beneficial.
Okay. So from your perspective, you're looking at it from a time standpoint. And I guess what I'm looking at it from is just like a selfish, unselfish. Because I can tell you right now, I would guess that the majority of people 40 and under typically vote selfishly. Meaning what is best for my interest, because I've probably got 20, 30, 40 years to go here.
But here's the thing. If you will be around to reap what you've sown.
Sure.
They won't.
Okay.
And so if you vote selfishly and you vote stupidly and it doesn't work out.
The people they care about well, though. Do you see where I'm going with that? There's no, like, outside of my singular bubble, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, I don't have grandkids.
Yet.
So outside, correct. So if I voted today, like, if you said what's important to me, like, kind of me. Like, I care about my parents and I care about these things, but in like my singular zone, I really care about myself. All I'm saying is the 92-year-old may look at that differently, because they have kids and they have grandkids and everything else. So like, I would argue that the majority of people my age are more selfish voters than the 90-year-old. I'm not saying you're wrong.
And you're thinking that, you're philosophizing on that. And again, I'm sure that there are lots of 92-year-olds who have like, I've lived my life. I'm worried about the next generation.
Sure.
But I've found, and I was surprised to find how many of them just don't, and they act like they're going to live forever. I mean, I've seen it in real estate. How many people have died? They made no preparations. The kids are now dealing with stuff in nursing homes and stuff with homes and stuff because nobody ever made any preparations. Sure. Because the people just thought I'm going to live forever, or they acted like they were going to live forever. So
the weighted vote is interesting. I have to let me sleep on it because I've never really thought about it.
Weighted vote.
Okay, let's do one more. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Beauty pageants, good or bad? This is maybe the worst question I could have possibly asked you.
I mean, it's right? been a topic of There's probably levels of both.
Okay.
I think there is a naivety, however you say that. There's a naiveness to think that physical beauty is not always going to have an impact on life.
We just talked about it with Andy Reid.
Yes, it's always going to be a part of it. Is it? So I don't know, because like if you didn't have beauty pageants, you have sporting events which are for people who are bigger, stronger, faster. We have chess tournaments for people who are smarter.
Sure.
And like the LeBron James isn't bigger, stronger, faster because he tried to be. He was born that way. Sure. I think it's one of those, as long as people like it, as long as people watch them, people love the red carpet, and the red carpet is full of beautiful people. And now they're talented, and too, but so I totally understand the aspect, whereas, I would stress to kids, if I was a child psychologist, or if I would stress to the homecoming queens of the world and the prom queens of the world and all that stuff. Like if all you have is pretty, if your Instagram page is just full of the prettiest selfies that you could take, then you're missing something. There needs to be something beyond that. Are you smart? Are you ambitious? Are you creative? Are you philanthropic? Are you something? If all you have is I'm pretty, then that's bad. It's
interesting because you need to apply that then to everybody else. So what I mean by that is, like, I have no doubt that I have coached players where their Instagram is all basketball. Would you preach the same thing to them?
Well, yes, because basketball is different, because basketball is a hobby. But if you have someone that all you do is if you're really philanthropic, if you are a photographer and your Instagram page is full of pictures that you have taken, I'm good with that, because it could be nature, it could be whatever. Like, there's a difference of what you do as opposed to what you look like. If your purpose in life, if you work some job that's just a job, and your purpose in life is to be philanthropic, and you work at the soup kitchen, or the this or the that, or Habitat for Humanity, or whatever, and all your Instagram posts or Facebook posts are about philanthropy, I'm good with that.
So, but
it just can't be something.
Time out. You're going too fast here. You're almost condemning, like, if a person's natural gift, or if a person is fortunate enough to be considered what society deems is attractive, like in the upper percentile of attractiveness.
Correct.
I don't understand why that person is held to a different standard than the person who 100% promotes and does their philanthropy, 100% promotes and does their sport, 100% promote and does whatever it is. I don't understand why that person has a different level of, I have to show I'm more than that.
Because it's superficial. There's no depth to being pretty.
Listen, don't get it twisted. There's not a lot of depth to a lot of philanthropy either. Most people didn't earn that money. It's in a trust fund. It was handed down. It's family money.
I'm just talking about the normal schlep who volunteers their time. I'm not talking about the rich people who write a check.
I disagree with you on this.
No. The person who volunteers at the animal shelter is not doing it because they were handed money and that's
a different level of philanthropy, though.
But it is. I'm not talking about the people I'm talking about the person who volunteers to mow the Little League field, or the people who work at the church that hand out bags of. It's
funny to me that these people in this social media world, there are certain people who benefit from this, and they are certainly attractive, right? And they are now able to make money and cash in on their appearance. I just don't understand why that's a negative for them, because other people can't handle it or are affected by it or wish they could look like them.
No. If you can make a living at it,
yeah.
If you, then God bless you.
You have to.
Absolutely.
And especially like, but this is the point I'm making. No, hold on, because it goes along with what you had started with. You had said, if that's your thing, if that's all you have, then to me, it's even more important, because that is the thing you have.
If this has become your career.
So you need to go make it happen. Like, this is your chance to cash in and set yourself up and set your kids up. And like, so I just...
So here's the question. How many people can make enough money posting pretty pictures?
More than you and your generation realizes right now. There are people on Instagram and TikTok that are making full careers out of just looking attractive.
Okay.
And so the point I'm making is, like, if that's your thing, if that is your opportunity to set yourself up and live a good life, then by all means, like, I'm not sitting here saying like, well, your life is flawed because you don't like, listen, anybody who's really a genius at what they do, their life in a way is flawed, because they like, we talk about the Tiger Woods and the Jordans and all these people and famous people. So
there's a cost.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it.
And so I always, we talk about like beauty pageants or TikTok models or whatever it is, there's this double standard with them, as if like they didn't earn it.
No, but
so
if you're talking about a professional model or someone who is a cash generating, I get it. But I'm talking about like 15, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old girls who post selfie after selfie after selfie after selfie, who are like, that is superficial. There's a little bit of artistic creativity to it, a little bit, but it's not. It's, I take 15 pictures of myself. Look how pretty I am. And my aspect is just have some, like, what else are you good at besides taking selfies?
Yes, and they'll have to find, if it doesn't work out for them, they'll find that. The same way the kid who goes into the gym in some rinky-dink gym and takes pictures of themselves shooting jumpers because they want to play basketball at Duke someday, and then it's their senior year, and guess what? They're not good enough to play at Duke someday. They better find something else to do.
Correct.
And so all I'm saying is,
you better than the philanthropy people.
So all I'm saying is,
people,
you better uphold them to the same standards of the people we call out on social media who just post selfies of themselves. Because the person that posts the selfie of themselves, they get called out for it. But the kid who doesn't have a clue they're not good enough to go to Duke, very rarely do they get called out for it. No one's on them like, you're wasting your time. Like,
again,
you're
that's
so
not the guy I talked
self-absorbed.
about. The person who just posts photography pictures, the person who just does philanthropy, the person, like, I've seen people who just post of themselves just like playing the guitar and singing. Like, that is all, like, I get all those because there's something else to them. There's a creativity, there's a work to it, there's a craft to it.
Okay.
I wake up and I look pretty. There's no craft to it.
You don't think there's a craft?
Not a whole hell of a lot.
I think there's more than you think. And here's the other part. I think a lot of people that are posting their music or posting their slam dunk or posting whatever, there's not a lot. There's not as much craft to that as you think either.
You don't think?
There's a lot of, listen, on your algorithm, most of the times you're seeing the best of the best. So if 5 singers come up on your algorithm, 4 of them are pretty damn good and 1 of them's okay. There's 400 others that just posted that hour that you didn't see that are just never going to make it. They're never, but there's
no, but it's not even about making it. It's about that they did something different, that they learned to play guitar, that they have a depth to themselves. And a person who can play guitar has a lot more depth to a person who can take a picture of themselves.
That. So you don't think that some of the people that post themselves playing on guitar are self-absorbed?
Of course they are.
The number one.
Of course they are.
The number one reason they're posting that is not to show you the cool thing they worked on. It's to try to pose of like, oh, I got this. Like, I'm a guitar player. Like, It's more posing and posture than actual performance or like, look what I worked on.
But there's an entertainment value to it,
Is
too.
there?
The people who post...
I'm not entertained by a lot of them.
The people who post beautiful pictures of scenery or whatever, there's the two sides of the ledge.
Okay.
A lot of this is, look how good I am at photography.
Okay.
And then a lot of it is, I think you're going to enjoy looking at this picture. And they're both... they're good.
Not?
And
so
I love the people who post the photography.
So why can't people be good at showing themselves?
And they
You don't think there's an art to that?
Wait, I think you're missing the whole point.
I don't think so.
They can do that. I get it. Just have something else.
And what and
have a layer of depth that's beyond selfie.
And what I'm saying to you is, then you better hold everybody else to the same standard. And I don't think you do.
I don't think a musician is nearly as shallow as someone who takes a picture of themselves.
Okay, and what I'm saying to you is, I think a lot of musicians are probably just as shallow because they're not really like, it's not like they went in and like starved over this one song they want to learn how to play. It was, oh, I bet you people will think I'm cool if they see me with my guitar.
But they had to practice for all these years.
Yes,
you can't just wake up and play.
I understand, and you don't think that some people Okay, and you don't think that some people who post pictures of themselves, you don't think there's poses and makeup and there's outfits?
Oh, I think there are.
Okay, so then I say to you again, what is the difference? They both would lack depth. So what is the difference?
Disagree.
Why would you call out one and not the other?
I disagree.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree.
All right. It's interesting. You know what's funny is you have 2 daughters, so that's why I always I'm fascinated to hear what you say about it.
You should be fascinated to hear everything I say.
I'm far from fascinated to hear everything you say.
Listen, and again, this goes back to the beauty pageant. I think everyone in life should use whatever advantage they have.
Correct.
You see it in basketball. You probably don't see it all the time, but you've seen big kids who were bigger than everyone else, who kind of felt bad using it, who didn't use their size and their strength as much as they could have because they knew this guy was like on the playground, they'd be the bully, they'd be the jerk, but on the basketball court. But that's your advantage. That's your God-given. This guy's faster than you. You're bigger and stronger, so use it. So I'm not saying that the people who are more attractive than the rest shouldn't use it to their advantage. I'm just saying, as a parent and as a school system and all this stuff, they need to encourage to have depth.
That's fine.
Be above and beyond just I'm the prettiest person in the room.
I have coached players before. Well, they'll go in the gym. They'll shoot 30 shots. They'll film themselves shooting the 30 shots, and it'll be like we're working, like we're like in the lab, like all these things, like they're really doing something. And they post that video of them taking 5 shots. And all I'm saying to you is there's almost no difference between them and the 16 or 17-year-old boy or girl who took a selfie of themselves in the right light and posted it on.
And I don't disagree with that. Now, what's funny about it is,
but I think some people, I think some people hold those 2 different kids to a different standard, and I think that's ridiculous.
I think they're both saying, "Look at me," without a doubt. I think that's a lot of what social media is.
Without very much effort behind it.
No, the basketball player puts in a lot more effort.
No, it's not.
Maybe not in that moment, but to be a basketball player, you're putting in the blood, sweat, and tears.
Okay.
To be the selfie person who, the girl, she took a shower and did her hair and put on makeup, but it's not like she just ran for 2 hours.
I think the amount of posing is about the same.
See, I don't know how many guys spend time.
Way more than you think.
You might be right.
Way more.
See, and here's the funny thing that we've used video before over technique, and just be like, here, this is how, look at the arc on your release of a football. Look how low your release is as composed. So now I've never posted them, but I've taken video of my kid and then said, here, watch this. This is what I'm trying to say. Do you see how your shoulders aren't turning? Do you see how?
Yeah, but that's a completely different conversation.
That's the only video. I don't post video to post it. It's weird. No, I get it. I understand what you're saying. And again, as a high school coach, no matter what sport it is, if all you're doing with a kid if a kid dedicates his whole high school life to football, then you need to step back and someone needs to say to this kid, hey, you need something in your life other than football, because once you turn 19, you're not playing.
I don't think anybody says that.
They should.
I don't think anyone does.
Don't you think they should?
I think in most aspects of life, most people, if they are good at something, they are typically just encouraged to kind of funnel into that and ride it for what it's worth, which is fine. I think there's a double standard to that when it comes to attractiveness. It's okay to funnel into this one thing and be lucrative if it's anything else. But if you're attractive and you try to funnel into that thing, oh, look at that attention whore.
Well, you used the word.
It's a double standard.
You used the word lucrative. Tell me how many high school athletes that you've known in your life, and tell me how many of those have ever turned athletics into something lucrative.
Less than the number of people that probably are making money on like Instagram and TikTok and OnlyFans right now.
Okay, but my point is, like, most of these kids are not going to be lucrative. Even though more people than you say I would know, and I believe this, are making money on Instagram and just posting attractive selfies of themselves. Yes. I get it, but most people don't. Most kids, if you're an attractive 17-year-old girl, you can't make a living. Like, all attractive 17-year-old girls aren't going to make a living on Instagram.
I would be willing to garner, if you're an attractive 17-year-old boy or girl and you get on TikTok and Instagram and you are consistent at it, right? You are posting consistently. You are monetizing it fairly quickly. It does not take long. Now, the question is, there are 17-year-olds who just don't care. There are some 17-year-olds that don't care to monetize off of it. It's not the goal. It's not something they're trying to do. The ones who are trying to do it, I bet you a third of them are actually monetizing it. It is unbelievable how many of these kids are making money off of their attractiveness through TikTok and Instagram.
That would be an interesting research topic for us to delve into.
On TikTok alone, if you have 100,000 followers on TikTok, which is not like, I'm not saying it's easy to get followers on TikTok, but if you are an attractive person and you are consistent, you will get followers on TikTok. And once you get to 100,000 and you're part of like the creator's content, like, you're monetizing, like, you're making money. Now, can you make like a full year's salary at 100,000 followers? Probably not. But once you have 100,000 followers, it's not that hard to get to $250,000. Once you're at $250,000, are you making a part-time job? Yeah. And like, once you get to 500,000 followers, are you like?
But there's a finite level of how many people can follow. Like, there's not a finite level, but you can't follow 1,000 people on TikTok, can you?
Oh yeah, you can follow as many people. You can follow as many people as you want.
But you don't watch them. You don't watch 1,000 TikToks.
Well, I disagree. It depends, because you have to remember what's changed now is the way TikTok works. You open it up and it's right away. It's instantaneous. And then the other part of it too is the way you swipe and the way these videos are. I mean, some of these videos are 10 seconds long, 20 seconds long. Like, you can sit there for 15 minutes and go through 100 plus videos. Like, it happens like that. So yeah, like, you can.
That's a world we don't get. I get it.
I know. And I think that's the point, is like, there's an aspect to this where it's like, well, there's no depth to it. And I understand that. Like 10 years ago when people were like, well, there's no depth to it. I completely disagree now, because it's a business. Oh. You are making money now. There's a value to that. And listen, TikTok has a creative depth to it from what I've seen. 100%.
It's not just a still photo of yourself.
No.
And maybe you're right. Maybe 10 years ago, my point was much more relevant than it is now. Maybe it is tweaked. The business model has changed to the point that it is valuable for, I don't know.
This is the funny part. You see all these college athletes and all this stuff, and they're doing TikTok trends, right? And they're doing Instagram challenges, and they're doing all this stuff. If being an athlete was more lucrative than being a social media star, then why are they doing all of these things?
Well, because they want to cash in on both, or they don't. There's only so many athletes who make it.
Yes, it's because it is more likely that you'll make it and be lucrative on the social media side than in any other aspect.
I guess here's the best analogy I can give, and I'm giving it an hour and 10 minutes in when no one's watching anymore. But just like with high school athletes, that they tell people, you still need to get good grades, you still need to go to college because you're probably not going to make a life at this. I think that it needs to be instructed to attractive teenage girls. You still need to find something else other in life that brings value to you and brings value to society other than taking pictures of yourself and saying, look how pretty I am.
Agreed. The same way that some high school athletes need to be told, you're not, like, you need to make sure you get good grades because this is not your
That's what I just said.
Okay, all right. But the point I'm making, though, is that it's never talked about from that perspective. It is always talked about from the other perspective of, can you believe these self-absorbed teenagers that take selfies of themselves? It's never, can you believe this kid who actually thinks he's going to go to Duke? Ever. It's always the other way. And all I'm saying is,
I get that.
They are almost
identical. Wait a minute. We talk about athletes
they're
all
almost
the time.
identical.
The kids think they're way better than they are.
That's
so
okay.
I don't.
They're almost identical situations.
And there are all these as well. When you talk to a kid, like I would never tell, an attractive teenager, like, don't chase that dream. But like, my brother made the big leagues.
But
he still graduated in the top whatever in his high school class. He still went to Stanford. There's
different.
Lots of these famous actresses that went to college and went to Yale. Yes. Matt Damon went to Harvard.
Correct. So why do you assume the girl taking selfies or the 17-year-old boy taking selfies on their phone isn't still getting good grades and isn't still doing like other things? Just because they don't post it to their TikTok or their Instagram doesn't mean they don't have B's. Like, it doesn't mean that they're not like with a group of friends or like in a social group or they're not doing something else. Like there's this.
I do get your point.
Yeah.
I just think, and maybe this is the way I look at it. Like anything you post, the people who post on social media and all they post is political. Every post they ever make is political. And you're like, dear God, there's more out there in the world than bitching about the Republicans or bitching about the Democrats. Like, there has to be something more.
Okay.
And that's whether it's well-roundedness or whatever, there has to be something else in your life that is worthy of posting on your Instagram page.
I disagree.
Other than a pretty picture of you.
Yes, but I disagree in the sense that it's just of you. Because there are people, like, if you go on some kids, there's people that only post Penn State football stuff. That's it.
Okay.
There's people that only post.
And that's sad.
There's people that post left versus right political.
And it's sad.
Okay. And so I think it's just as sad. I don't understand why the 17-year-old selfie gets singled out.
But isn't it? Okay. But isn't it sad? Isn't that's what I'm saying. The 17-year-old that only posts selfies is sad.
Yes, but you're way more sad about them than all the other ones. And what I'm saying to you is it's not that different. The
question was about beauty pageants.
Yes.
It started with beauty. It didn't start about Penn State football. It was beauty pageants.
But if the question was like bodybuilding pageants, like bodybuilding, like you never would have took that angle on bodybuilders. You never, like, if it was bodybuilders, you never would have been like, you know what I don't understand? You know what I can't get? These bodybuilders, they just take selfies of themselves and they just keep posting it. And it's like, how self-absorbed can you be? They should show that there's more to them.
You know what I never think about? Bodybuilders.
That's what I mean. You never would have done that on the other
You asked a question about beauty pageants. Dear.
Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Thank you to our sponsor, Weiss Markets. We're going to talk more about Weiss Markets here during the 12 days of giveaways. And thank you to NorthcentralPa.com. Be sure to go there for all your local news. One last time before I let Mark say goodbye, 12 days of giveaways. We're going to start Thursday, December 9th at noon. In order to have a chance to win, all you have to do is like, comment, or share. You can do one or you can do all three. And we're going to have 3 winners every day. We're going to give out 36 prizes going all the way up to Christmas Eve. So again, as we get closer to Thursday, Wednesday, be sure to like the video, be sure to comment on the video, and be sure to share on the video. We'll have Christmas topics, we'll have Christmas debates, different things that you can comment on, so that way you don't have to just say hi or something generic. Yes. Christmas selfies would be a good one. You actually saw a good story. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow, about a Christmas selfie.
I did.
An insensitive Christmas selfie.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, actually, that might be a good one.
Some people think it was insensitive. Yeah. It's up for debate.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to start with. Anything else before we go?
Nope, that's it.
All right.
Go get huge football game tonight. Buffalo and New England, great one. And I think it's supposed to snow in Buffalo. Ooh. No matter how much you like football or don't like football, when it's snowing, it's fun.
Yeah, it adds an element to it.
It does.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina, and we will see you all tomorrow.
See ya.